I'll start off with the remote meeting procedures, and then we'll see if Cheryl joins by then. So in keeping with an act relative to extending certain state of emergency accommodations, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by committee members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will be broadcasted live and recorded on ECAT. While conducting meetings remotely, we'll endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to standard procedures as possible. However, use of the platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. While the committee members will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendees, meaning they are muted with no video feed from them. And during the public portion of the meeting, members of the public can be recognized by using the raise hand function found under participants from Zoom. Oh, here comes Craig. Let me get him in. And or make a request with the Q&A function. If you're joining only by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. When starting testimony, please state your name and address for the record. As in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated, and anyone who abuses use of the meeting platform will be terminated from the meeting. Business will be handled at the times indicated on the agenda. Business not concluded in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely logins and remote attendance. Committee members are asked to announce themselves when making a motion and second so that it will be clear to the audience and minute takers who made motions. All votes will be by roll call. When all business indicated on the agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meeting, signaling the end of the meeting and the termination of the ECAT recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. So it looks like we have a good amount of folks on. Can someone send Cheryl the link to the meeting? It looks like she needs that. Thank you. So can I go ahead and take roll?
I'll speak for Craig since it looks like maybe he's compromised, but Barger is here. Bornstein, yes. Present.
And yes.
Durant, yes. Here.
Kathy's muted.
Foster, yes.
Hirschman here.
Hey, here.
All right. So we have quorum, and we'll go ahead and get rolling. Hey, Craig. It looks like Craig's connecting to audio, so we'll give him another minute.
That sounds good.
Here.
Hey, there you go. Thanks, Craig.
Hey, guys.
All right.
Hi.
First item on the agenda is to review and approve minutes. Kelly distributed those minutes, I think, a few days right after our meeting on November 4th for our November 1st meeting. And anyone have any comments or updates to the minutes? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Barger.
Second, Foster.
Thank you. Can we go ahead and vote for approval of the minutes?
Barger, yes.
Ornstein, yes.
Durant,
And yes.
Foster, yes.
oh, whoops.
Hirschman, yes.
Hey, yes.
Thank you. We have approval of our minutes. And so there was a note that did come out from the town about ensuring that committees are making sure that they're updating and putting their minutes as well as their agenda on the appropriate site. And I have confirmed with Kelly, we are in adherence to that. Our agendas are being posted timely and our minutes are being posted timely as well. So thank you, Kelly. All right, I see Cheryl's joining us as well. So our next agenda topic is events, and there were a plentiful amount of them. Hi, Cheryl. So starting off with the Transgender Remembrance Service. So that was held a couple of weeks ago. There was a good contingent of folks there. Beth and Esme spoke at the event, and Beth did a great job, I think, representing the HRC. She put together some really nice words around how we're supportive of our transgender community and you know, the challenges that are facing that community today. Probably most folks would remember, this actually the Remembrance Day was right at the heels of the atrocious acts of hate in Colorado at that Club Q, and so I think it was even more solemn, unfortunately, than it would have been just based on the recent event. But the Holy Lutheran Church did a great job, I think, hosting that event. They had a candle lighting ceremony for folks who wanted to go ahead and light a candle for someone that they were remembering. There was a reading of names and a very good representation of community members present at the event, including our select board members, and Craig was there as well. Anything you want to add, Craig?
I was very impressed with the whole process, and I'm sorry that Pastor Polk was in the hospital that evening, so he wasn't able to be there. But the woman who handled it for him did a very nice job. Beth was terrific. I know that you probably did a lot of the writing for her.
Not true.
Karen,
Not true.
but she was really good. And Dottie was there. Our state rep, Carol Doherty, Suzanne Bump, and it was well done. I was very pleased to be part of it.
And then the Holy Lutheran Church actually hosted a really nice reception for all the participants afterwards. It was so well done. It felt really nice to have the opportunity to connect with people afterwards, and they just had a great assortment of food. They had invited the high school gay and sexuality alliance representation was there as well. There was just a good group of people there to interact with. I definitely plan to continue to stay involved in this event going forward. I think the HRC most definitely, we have alignment there for sure, and it was a really good opportunity to show our support for our LGBTQ+ community. Any questions from the group around that? Awesome.
I didn't go. I just thanks to everybody who did go. I think it's such a good event, and I'm glad that we were well represented.
Yeah. Oh, Amy got a call out actually, because Esme during Esme's speech mentioned the great support of the HRC and specifically Amy for the Pride. So that was really nice. Yeah. Okay, so that was that service. The next on the list was our Main Street Holiday Parade. Liz, do you want to go ahead and give an update on that one?
Sure. We marched in the parade. It was this past Sunday, December 4th. We had good numbers there. I would say there's probably 24 of us, give or take, marching behind the HRC. So combination of members, family members of members, former members, allies, people of all ages. We had good visual representation, holding our banner and wearing our shirts. And it was good to be seen. So just like it was important that we made our presence known and were part of the ally group at the Trans Day of Remembrance service, it's important for the town to know that there is a Human Rights Committee, because every year, I think this is maybe the third year we've done it, you can always see or hear people saying like, oh, Human Rights Committee, huh? Like they're not, they're just surprised, right? It's news to them that there is a committee. So I think that degree of visibility is good and important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think this is a great one for us to continue to add on to our list for the holiday time frame. It's not a significant amount of effort or planning, right? We just needed to make sure we had some candy on hand and some excited young folks who wanted to give out candy for us. And we had, like Liz said, a really good representation. And it was so nice to see some of our previous HRC members join us for the walk. So yeah, all very positive.
I think in side conversations, some small ideas were germinating about what we could add next year. So we're there. Now we're there with a banner. Now we're there with a banner and shirts, right? Like, what can we do that is also going to be informing people a little bit about our mission and what we do as a committee and sort of what we support and how that relates to the holidays. And I know some people talked about music, right? Like having just a portable speaker with us playing holiday music for a bunch of different holidays or cultures. But that might be something to brainstorm for the next year.
We had lots of Christmas decor. We should get some, like, I don't know, go to the dollar store and get some crap for other holidays to represent all of the holidays. I'll get some, like, I'll get like a Rudolph antler / menorah headband or something, you know.
Oh,
and you did,
Kathy, you're on mute.
We could hold little placards on for different holidays as we walk, you know, something like that that showed that we're supporting them all.
It would be a fun way to incorporate, maybe some of the kids would have ideas about how to visually represent different holidays, and they could each pick one and I don't know, just some ideas that would be like low effort.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that this makes me think of is the whole Merry Christmas versus Happy Holidays conversation piece, and how some people take that. There was a nice visual I'd come across that sort of explains a rationale for saying happy holidays. That said something like, you know, like between X date and Y date, there's like 27 holidays or whatever, and I don't think mine is any more important than yours, or something like that. So good ideas we can vet, but maybe start talking through, you know, September, October.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I think the other addition would be maybe best dog. I think that was one of the other lists of potential to add to our group of folks next year. Okay, so that was the Main Street Holiday Parade. Next on the list is the Holiday Shopping Fair. Michelle, do you want to provide an update on what that is again, just for folks to be aware of what that's going to entail?
Sure. So holiday, this is the 6th year that we've done this. It's at the Oliver Ames Cafeteria. It's always the second Saturday of December. So this year it'll be December 10th from 8 to 2. We have 55 crafters and vendors coming. About 3/4 of them are return vendors and have been with us, some of them from the very beginning, which is really nice that they keep coming back. And the fair, it supports all the music programs in Easton from pre-K on up. So it's a really nice event. I know that you guys are going to be there. There's various community tables that'll be there in addition to the crafters and vendors. So it's just a nice way to get out. We have Dave Spagone coming back as our DJ, so we can dance and sing. Cheryl, that would be your department. But it's really nice, and I'm glad you guys are joining us this year.
Can I ask a question? Did we get our tablecloth?
Did you do what? Oh,
No, so honestly, I started to do the tablecloth and a banner a couple times, and it's more effort. Andrew needs to design it for me, and it's been more complicated than just uploading a file. Like, I'm just trying to make it look great and have longevity. So I have not yet, but I do have a table and a tablecloth and chairs for Saturday morning.
we provide the chairs, so you don't have to bring the chairs, but you guys signed up for a bring your own table spot, if that works.
So will we put the banner in front of our table?
Yeah, we can figure it out. Or I just have our standard signs and QR codes. And
If you think you're going to need more space than that, let me know, because I'm working on the floor plan as we speak.
I guess yeah. Are we against like a wall? Where is it? Is it in the cafeteria at OA?
It's in the cafeteria, and I use all 3 levels. You guys ended up. Let me go grab my map. Talk amongst yourself. I'll be right back.
Cheryl, you have a question? I'm sorry, I lowered your hand because I thought maybe you did it by mistake, but then I see that you really do have a question. Please go ahead.
I have a question. I know this just walked away. I'm trying to get coverage at Langwater on Saturday so I can do this. I just want to know what shifts are at this point still needing volunteers for. Last I saw it was 12 to 2.
One is Amy and Liz, which is perfect since Amy's bringing the table and Liz is bringing the t-shirts, I think. So that's good. And then Kathy and I have shift number 2, which I think takes us to around 12:30 or so.
Okay.
Does that sound? So it's really from 12:30 to 2:30. So it goes until 2, but we anticipate, just kind of break down in time for 2:30ish. So 12:30 to 2:15.
Penny and I are coming too, so if anybody needs a break or anything, we can, we're happy to jump in and help.
Thank you, Kelly.
Did anybody else sign up for that 12:30 to 2?
No, that's empty right now on the sign up.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get. I'm going to put my hand down. I'm hoping that somebody covers me at Langwater.
If need be, I can probably cover it because there is also a wrestling tournament going on that day that is bringing in 300 to 400 people and wrestlers and their families. So that's part of Michelle's genius, is setting this up in symbiosis so the two are kind of working with each other. So I may be there all day. I'm not sure.
What was the sign up? I didn't see a sign up.
I will.
I have to go. Lindsay has a dance performance that afternoon. Would somebody mind just taking my table home and I can come get it later in the week?
Yeah, if I can fit it in my car, I'll.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'll really take it.
So setup is on Saturdays between 6:30 and 7:30. And right now I have you, if you are walking in the door from the outside just to the cafeteria, the lower part, I have you against that wall.
Okay.
That like faces the basketball courts. I have you as one of those tables. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a good spot? We want to get a good spot, Michelle.
You're in a good spot. I mean, I don't know. Do you need electricity? Do you need
No, the wall where we can hang our sign. That's the good spot, right?
I was just, if there's a wall
Definitely
behind
we'll
it.
have a wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cinder block wall. But
I will bring options for displaying the banner.
We just do some heavy duty duct tape, right?
The duct tape and the banner are already in my car.
Perfect. Amy, do you want my clipboard for my ally list?
I have one too. I mean, I'll definitely, I can just, you don't have to get it to me or be early. I have a version too.
And remember, when they sign up, watch how they write. Every time I get to, there's like 4 people that I can't tell who they are.
Okay, I'll double check them.
Short list.
So if you, I could offer this too, larger paper for people that cannot write that small anymore, because I know I'm one of those people, and I have clipboards that are like bigger because I can just grab one from my art room. So if you want, I'll grab a clipboard, and that way maybe, and then we could just like make our own lined paper.
Oh yeah.
I can actually just use a ruler and make lined paper, and that way it'll be easier for us to read, because a lot of, it's unfortunate, but it's true, a lot of us start writing smaller too when we get up in years.
That may help, but for the most part, they just kind of write really fast, and they don't really write letters.
Please write legible.
Yeah. But
We really want to hear from us.
Michelle, is the entrance from the outside? Is that where we should come in?
So will be 2 entrances, so people can come in that way, and also we'll have signage in the atrium. So if people go into the atrium, I'm working with Ryan Gordy to make sure that the music hall stays clear, and we'll have signage all the way going down the music hall to the cafeteria. So either way.
Okay.
Yep.
So we have t-shirts to sell. I still have some Pride bracelets left from the Pride event that I'll bring as well. I think that we might as well try to sell those as well. Do we still have any large decals, Amy?
We might have a few. I think I gave most of them to RMK.
Okay.
They don't
All right.
say, the large decals didn't say, I gave them to the proclamation event because they don't say Human Rights Committee on it. It's just the logo, like the art.
Yeah.
Because it was those were originally purchased to accompany people who signed the proclamation, and so that they could display that as a visual. So I think RMK has most of them.
Do we have a write-up on what our committee is that we can bring?
Yes. So I have a few printouts. First of all, I have handouts that have the brief version of our charge, and then I have a sign that has that with a QR code that it goes to our website. Yeah, and I'll bring whatever we have, like stickers, big stickers, little stickers. If we have any of the decals, I'll bring them.
I still have Faces of East End postcards.
Bring
them. I was also going to bring, I think I'll have to triple check, but I'm pretty sure I still have some coloring pages to hand out. Those were a hit at the last Sheep Pasture event.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to have like a little basket of like tiny candy that brings people over?
Oh, that's a good idea.
We could probably sweep some off the street from
I'll bring some for our shift. I can always get some candy.
I'll bring some for our shift.
Okay. Just because that sometimes brings people over.
Yeah.
Mini Snickers or something.
We don't have to deal with wind, so we can put stickers up for grabs.
Right.
You're right.
Does someone have a cash box?
Uh-oh.
All right. What was that?
An envelope.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I will, I'm going to bring shirts, postcards, and a cash box. I'm going to see if I have extra cash as well. $20 for the shirts. We did sell a shirt for the holiday parade. So
do we want to keep it at 20 or do we want to go to 15?
How about for shift? No, I'm kidding. I think we should keep it at 20.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it.
All right. Awesome.
Oh, what?
Okay.
2 for 30.
Two for 30.
Like
2 for 30. That's good. All right. So do we
Make a new sign?
I was just going to say, what do we have for sign? Yeah.
It says t-shirts, $20.
Or, yeah.
Okay. All right.
There you go. Move that inventory.
So that takes us to our spring event. And I'll just say that I did meet with our Health and Community Services Director, Kristen Kennedy. So I will, and we did talk about the art project, but no real progress has been made on this. So I would say we probably need to form a subcommittee at some point if we really want to start getting this moving. Because I know there are a lot of ideas that we kind of started to circulate, but I think we need to be able to have some dialogue and conversation and planning for this. If we're aiming for some time in May, we still have time, but my guess is that it would probably move a little quicker if we formed a subcommittee. Any thoughts around that?
Karen, I must have missed that meeting. Can you just refresh my memory or the cliff notes of what the art project is?
Yeah, what we talked about was there was some LGBTQ plus hate written on a wall downtown, like off Main Street at the park.
Yeah.
And actually, it was Sergio who recommended maybe we could go ahead and use that space and instead have a positive message that would somehow correlate to our work and make it into an art project, like a mural or something like that. So that's really the thought around it, is to utilize that space to go ahead and put a positive message, and similar to what we did in the past with the art campaign, see if we might even get to solicit some community involvement and ideas on how we could utilize that space. And then even once we decide on what the look will be, to then even get more community involvement and incorporate some sort of painting event or something like that. So, I think there was a lot of ideas being thrown around, and kind of different phases of it. But I just think it's, especially based on the components that we want to incorporate, we had talked about even a voting at some point for the artwork, right? There's just a lot of components here. So maybe it's an opportunity for us to collaborate with RMK. Maybe it's an opportunity for us to collaborate with other committees out there, disability. I think there's a lot of other opportunities for us to consider here, but I wanted to at least recommend maybe a subcommittee be formed to start to think about what this could form. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Have we talked to the DPW? I mean, who controls that park? Is it recreation, or is it human services? Is it DPW? Do we know?
Well, Kristen Kennedy said that we could work with her as the point of contact for that. So they
Excellent.
would help in terms of approval of the artwork and whatever else we needed for that. They were planning to be very supportive of the event.
Good.
Karen, is there a timeline associated with it? Because, I mean, I think it's a great project. I want to start adding Pride 2023 to our list of planning, like event planning.
Yeah, I don't want that to coincide, right? We want to make sure that we have dedicated effort for both initiatives. So this one is pretty fluid. I think some folks have ideas about other community events that might be happening around the, March, April timeframe that we might be able to tack onto, but there wasn't anything necessarily set in stone. I just didn't think that we had anything in the spring. We just did the holiday efforts, and we'll be convening those by the end of this month. So, in terms of January, February timeframe, there isn't too much going on.
I think maybe this came up before in terms of timing, coordinating it with the Day of Kindness that the high school does to honor a student who passed away. And that's usually the end of April. So again, depending on the committee and who's involved, that could coincide.
I think it's going to. Go ahead, Cheryl.
I'm kind of. There's a lot we can do wrapped with that. One of the things, like over at Langwater, there's a plant that sits envisioned like outside. Well, it was outside. Now it's on the other side. But it's a huge plant that the Ness family actually donated on the Day of Kindness to them. So it's a lot of, so it just gets me thinking there's a lot that we can do within organizations, or businesses that have the same mindset that our organization has, or that the committee has. So I think that we can partner with a lot of people in different ways in support of this. So I'd love to be part of the committee. Of course, it's art, so. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I mean, just I guess as folks start to think about involvement in this one, I think, Amy brings up a good point. We don't want it to coincide, and plus, we will be going out for sponsors for the Pride event, right? So maybe not tapping every shoulder to ask for favors for anything else, kind of leading up to that. So I would say if we could start to form form a subcommittee specifically focused on the art event, and we don't have to call it spring art event if we end up, deciding that it needs to happen later in the year, whatever that. I think we just have some fluidity there, but for folks who are interested, maybe begin to start to form a group. I think that would be great.
What's the tentative date for the Pride event?
I don't have one yet, but I'm thinking it's gonna probably be the weekend of June 11th. It's the weekend before. I have to check with Jen though, at the NRT, obviously. The following weekend is Juneteenth and Providence Pride, and I know that was like a big conflict for a lot of people who wanted to go to the Providence event. So I'm gonna ask Jen to do it the weekend before, I think.
And where is it coincide with the high school graduation?
Right.
That's the first weekend in June.
Yeah.
The first weekend? Okay.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're mindful of the Juneteenth piece, because that's really important that it's.
We could do the 18th as a backup, but that's Providence Pride, and it was a lot this year, 2022, to do it back to back. So.
Do you think the NRT is going to want us to do their farm day again?
Yeah.
I wonder when that is.
Yeah, I'll look that up too.
Oh yeah, thank you, Amy.
I think for the art event, if we can coordinate with a couple other organizations so it doesn't all fall on our shoulders, that would be ideal.
I agree. And if we have some thoughts around who we can try to maybe collaborate with, I think that would be great.
The groups that jump out at me are RMK, Old Colony Y, Children's Museum. Those right away in terms of actively involved in the community.
And Kelly's group, formerly Council on Aging, whatever their current name is. I think that's an important group to include.
Okay. All right.
Happy to help.
That's
So maybe Kelly, you can just sort of float the idea about the interest and capacity for this type of creative work, the brainstorming, the execution part of it, and just see where things lie with the group that you're with.
I sure will. No problem.
And would somebody want to take initiative to reach out to RMK or some of the other entities that
I see
Craig
Cheryl raising her hand twice, so.
You're muted.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Craig?
I said I saw you raising your hand, so I figured we'd jump right on it.
I can reach out to Kelly Lamb, like, of course.
What about Children's Museum or Old Colony Y?
I can reach out to her. I don't know her, but I'm happy to reach out.
I'm thinking maybe reach out to the schools.
Yep. So a friend of mine, Rob Delalue, just got appointed the chief diversity something for Southeastern Vogue. So I think that we should I can reach out to Rob and talk to him about, he actually was the head of the multicultural affairs department over at Bristol Community College for several years. So he's over there now. So I can reach out to him, and I can talk to TJ and Kathy over at Kathleen over at OA. I guess I just appointed myself.
You could also reach out to Kristen Santoro at the Children's Museum.
Let's just make me a list.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's why it's recorded. That's why it's recorded.
I'm happy to reach out to everybody. I'll make that list. Not a problem.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yes. It makes up for me not being able to go to the parade.
Okay, perfect. So that would be great to get that going. And then this way we can see who we can partner with, and that will definitely planning. Okay, excellent. And then I'll add Pride event to our agenda going forward, because I think, Amy, some of the best practices from last year is the earlier the better. So
Yes.
if we could start vendors, food, right, like however we can begin to engage in those activities sooner than later, I think that would be great.
The learning curve was so steep. We're gonna crush it this year.
We're totally going to crush it. Yes, I agree. Okay. So partner collaboration updates, the Massachusetts Human Rights Coalition. Beth actually attended the meeting this month, or I'm sorry, yeah, November's meeting. And no, it was December's meeting, wasn't it? It was December's meeting. She was able to kind of talk through the stickers. So some of the white supremacy stickers that we've been seeing kind of popping up around town. And I did send an email prior to that meeting just to see if other towns had seen them. And half of the group never heard of it, and the other half have seen them and haven't noticed any increase in activity, but did mention it. So I think there was a representative from the DOJ on the call who mentioned that there was some additional efforts at the state level around this topic, and that they would be prepared to discuss it with us closer to the January meeting. So I think there will be a presentation or something of the like for a discussion for this topic. So either I'll hope to attend, and if I don't have any conflicts, but if not, I'll solicit the team and see if other folks might be available to join. Moving on, so I mentioned that I did meet with Kristen and Jeff from the Health and Community Service area and division of the town on November 8th. Beth and I had an in-person meeting with them. It was a great discussion, really good amount of dialogue and opportunities to kind of collaborate going forward. Some quick topics I just wanted to share that we did cover. We talked about the art project. Kristen and Jeff said they'd gladly be our points of contact as we begin to initiate planning for that event. And they even had lots of ideas as well. So I feel like they could be part of our subcommittee as we begin to plan those efforts. They also gave us some pointers, Amy, around planning for our Pride event. They mentioned there are fee waivers that we could be asking for the Board of Health, so that this way we could begin to maybe ask for that sooner in the month leading up to it, so that this way when we start to reach out to vendors, we could say that the fees have been waived or whatever that looks like. So that was one thing they mentioned. We brought forward at a previous meeting a conversation about maybe a neighboring town that sent out letters to age 60 and older community members to let them know of openings on boards and committees. And Kristen said she would look into that. Apparently we used to send out letters, but that effort has since stopped, and she was going to look into maybe getting that going again. They offered to assist us with marketing of our events if needed, through their own channels. So we can, maybe Kathy, we can take them up on that definitely for Pride and for some of our bigger activities. We talked about the opportunity for the town to create a shared calendar. That was kind of a wish list item that Beth and I were saying would be really beneficial, just so that we could just have some greater visibility across all of the great work that committees and boards and other events that are happening around town. If we could just have one source for that information, it would be ideal and really helpful. But it sounds like that's a significant project considering how siloed things are. But Kristen did mention she would look into it further. So at the heels of the conversation, we just said that we would like to have more ongoing dialogue. So we committed to maybe a quarterly meeting going forward, just to kind of keep the conversation going and keep each other up to date on various initiatives and projects. So that was the conversation, very positive. And it sounds like Jeff is taking on his role in terms of recreational planning and really trying to bring in some new curriculum and offerings to our community. So it's very, very positive overall. Any questions on that at all? Okay. Advisory council for the OA principal. I don't know if anybody here is on that. I think it's Beth. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have an update this month on that. And the superintendent committee, she did send me a note and said they did meet. Oh, maybe Michelle, do you have an update on that? Are you on that as well?
I am, but I didn't go. Both Jenna and I thought it was canceled because Away went home early and all activity canceled, so the two of us misunderstood. But I do know they did have the meeting, but I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think Beth just said that she shared the update around the stickers, and otherwise it wasn't an overly eventful meeting. So I think that was it. Okay, moving on. Our treasurer update.
Yeah,
Liz?
so I emailed everyone the documents I had received from the treasurers. They're not super user friendly, so let me put some of it in plain English. Currently in our funds designated for the HRC, we have about $950. So keep that in mind with any event planning going forward. That is the money we have to work with. Hopefully we'll get a big boost of money from the t-shirt sales because we still have a lot of that inventory. But that's where we are with funds and changes over the last couple months. So there were a lot of expenses that went out for the bench projects that we did at NRT, as well as reimbursement for Pride. So that is kind of explaining the difference between where our funds were and where they are now. There has not been any money coming in.
Just so you know, Liz, last night the select board accepted the Stonehill College gift for this year.
Fantastic.
So there's a portion of that that has not been designated for anything specific.
Great. So that's certainly something to keep in mind with our planning going forward, and perhaps selecting something that Stonehill would be particularly on board with having those funds go towards. Thanks for the update.
I think a really good candidate for that would be our Pride event. What do you think, Amy?
I think that might be hard for Stonehill.
Right.
But Beth could perhaps give you some advice on that.
Craig, the money that Stonehill gives us, it's not in lieu of taxes, but it is in appreciation of being part of the town and not paying taxes, correct?
Yeah, I think you can say it
that way.
Put it that way.
So I don't think we have to please them. I think it's okay.
I also don't. I think they support it. I don't know. I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, I think we post it and we see what happens, right?
Yeah, talk with Beth about it, because I know she has been a useful liaison the last couple times, and sort of personally thanking Stonehill or being the messenger for saying like, hey, some of your funds went to this project and blah, blah, blah. So I agree from a funds perspective and sort of where our big expenses are coming up, that would be the first one that jumps to my mind. But let's just give that one a little more thought on process, perhaps.
And I think it was Kathy who brought forward, is it the ECC grant? Is that the one?
ECC, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's coming up due soon. And I said, maybe I could take something from what we've done in the past and see if we could try to position for something that's future focused. But it sounds like maybe that is a request after you spend. Is that right, Beth?
You think you have to do it that way? Because it fell right into the Pride event.
I think our timing has been after the fact, but I think you can proactively.
I mean, it would just be nice to have the money.
Right.
Well,
right.
I think it is. I think the model is still reimbursement.
Okay.
Right. Like we have to pay out of pocket at some point and then get reimbursed.
Right.
But in terms of the event happening already, you can do both.
So Karen, did you start working on it?
I started to take what Liz pulled together for that last event that we asked for? Was it the Unity Project or something like that as the template? But I haven't made much progress, and I think it's due like next week.
Yeah.
Next week. Is that?
So I think the key point is to get a budget from Amy.
Like a rough budget of what we need for Pride?
Yeah, I mean, and we could even be slightly ambitious and maybe add a couple things that we wanted to do that we couldn't, as far as like music, DJ, stuff like that. But I mean, how do you factor in the whole sponsor piece? Because we're also going to ask for sponsorships. I mean, do you ask for a grant, and then if you can cover it with sponsorship money, can you use the grant for something else, or do you use the sponsorship money for something else, or do you just put it into the following year? Like, I
think if you ask for money from a grant, you need to put that money towards whatever you're asking for, and that sponsorship stuff can be used for other events or other activities, other expenses.
Okay.
What do you think, Liz?
As long as we're clear about the sponsor piece.
Yeah, I'm looking
that,
up.
You know, they're sponsoring the event, but also sponsoring our committee's activities going forward, or something along those lines. As long as we're forthcoming about that piece of it, then we should be good to go.
And I don't feel like we got a huge lineup of sponsors last year. Maybe I'm sure we might get more.
but it was a huge misstep on the timing and communication. And I think knowing everything we went through this year, we'll have a much broader, bigger range of asks and more timely and more.
This money is out there for our asking. It's almost like they're going to give it to us. If we can just put together some halfway decent proposal, they're going to give us like $2,500 or whatever.
I think I like what Karen said. I think as long as we're clear for sponsorships, it's like to support the event, and whatever that company gets out of it sponsorship wise will happen at the event. But it's very clear that they're donating to the Human Rights Committee.
That's right.
Okay.
The tricky part is getting this thing put together. I think it's due either the 10th or the 15th. I don't remember the date.
Is there, I don't have any insight. Is there a format? Is there?
Yeah, an application online that has to be completed. So let me try and pull some stuff together, and then Amy, I'll reach out to you for some content, maybe specifically around Pride and what go towards, or maybe if you wanted to just send me that ahead of time, you know, an estimate as well as what we would use the funds for and what the event is for. That would be great. So anything maybe that we published around the Pride event, or
yeah, I have like a press release from last year that I can send you, and I also have a budget spreadsheet that lists what we paid out for what line items. And maybe if you and I even just met for like half an hour, Karen, some night, we can before it's due, we can hash it out or whatever.
Okay.
Or do it ASAP.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll find out the due date, and then I'll reach out to you.
Okay. We have plenty to pull.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I don't want to miss that opportunity, so I'm glad we talked about that again. Okay, Liz, you're researching something vigorously. Are you good? Anything?
I was trying to find the deadline date, and I cannot find the application or the deadline date. Like, I have the background information, but not the actual. So
it was extended.
When I sent the email out, it had the date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was extended, right? I think there was an initial date, but then it got extended.
Maybe we can work on it at the holiday fair.
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, there you go. That's a great idea. Okay. All right. Well, somebody will find it, and we'll get it circulating, and we'll figure out what we can do on that. Perfect. Okay. anything else from a treasury standpoint? Liz?
No, that's it for the treasurer update.
Okay. Any other action items?
Yeah, I have 2 follow-ups. So
Okay.
one was the conversation with the person in Hull who coordinated their sort of like human messaging event where the people formed letters on the beach. You know, the woman was helpful and gave a lot of information about sort of the logistics and how to put it together. I think from our end, the decision is how, when, or if this fits into anything we want to do. It does need to kind of have some other stuff going on, right? Like the activity itself probably won't be enough to draw people to a certain location. And there's a need for like music and food and other festivities to be built around it. The actual execution of checking people in, telling them where they're going to go, lining them up, like coordinating the drone stuff. It sounds like that process is 1-ish hours, depending on how organized we are. So yeah, I don't think this fits into anything right now specifically, but I think it's sort of in our back pocket if it comes up as a good fit going forward.
You know, doing it in one of those, the field at the NRT.
Yeah, would be fantastic. And, you know, with Pride, that might be a good thing to do in conjunction. Because yes, it does need to be a big space. There needs to be sort of, it helps if there's an ability for people to kind of see from above what's going on, because part of the process is like Karen comes in and she checks in and she knows she's part of the first E, and Michelle comes in, she knows she's part of the A, blah, blah, blah. And you sort of see where it's all going, and then you kind of tell people go, and they go line up in their letters. So yes, if you have a visual that's maybe even uphill from the field of where it's going, that could work. So maybe this goes into planning with Pride event.
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. So that was my one update. My other sort of update or action item is the religious holiday observance calendar. So we had talked about wanting to get this kind of out and about on the radar in January, because Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, that's when school committee starts to have conversations about the academic calendar for the following year. Yeah, so to the extent that the calendar can help inform significant decisions about, you know, days on, days off. That came up a couple years ago. And then Karen, you had mentioned with the Mass HRC, you know, there are other towns that do the holiday observance calendar, and wondering if, oh, good sleuthing, wondering if we can coordinate with them, right? So we don't all have to reinvent the wheel, and we all have some shared information about dates, descriptions of holidays. So that's, I guess, an ask to see if you can put that request out to the Mass HRC group. Like anyone who does a holiday observance calendar, could we have our own little communication group to see about coordinating our efforts? And then the second request is sort of an Amy request, since she is still the master of formatting this document. I learned that I can find new content all I want, but I can't always get it to fit and look nice. So coordinating on our end about who's going to be in charge of what in terms of updating.
Okay, I can reach out to the Massachusetts coalition, and at the very least, I think it was the town of Hingham that currently does it today. So, you know, at the very least, I think we could at least work with them directly or their representative directly. But I can see if other folks have interest in supporting it as well.
Okay, and you can feel free to list me as a contact for other towns to contact directly. And Amy, if you would like me to leave you out of it and we'll just come to you when we need it to look pretty, then I can help lead the information gathering.
That would be wonderful. Not, you know, I'm there.
No, I know, but like the content and the display of content can be broken into two different steps.
Cool.
Okay,
Liz, I'd like to help
All
with
right.
that again this year.
that would be great.
Okay, I have found out, just going back to a previous topic, I have found some more information about the Massachusetts Cultural Council, and it's specifically around the festivals and projects category that we're looking into. The event, it says, would take place between July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. So our Pride event would fall within this time frame, so that's
Mhm.
good. But it does say there's a limit to provides a 1-year grant of $2,500 to support publicly available cultural activities taking place within those time frames. So yeah, so I just wanted to give that update. Okay.
I feel like if
thank-
you had the 2,500 in your pocket, that just helps in planning. And there were things that we could have done this year that we didn't because we weren't sure of our funds. So I think it would give you a lot more
yeah,
flexibility to that.
Okay, so I did include the link in the chat, so if folks want to take a look at that and see, just to familiarize yourself with what we're going to try and hash out this weekend at the festival. Okay, perfect. The other item I wanted to make sure I brought up as the other action item is member update. So I did reach out to Jean, and it looks like she will not be able to commit the time to be able to participate in our committee. So she had planned to step down and was going to notify the town, but in checking with Craig, you haven't received a formal notification on that?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so that was several weeks ago, so I'll have to follow up with Jean on that. Also, I have not heard from Sergio, so he has not attended the last, I think now 3 meetings. And so I'm not really sure. I've tried to reach out via email. I think Liz has reached out as well, and we have not heard from him. So I'm not sure, Craig, what the process is, but what we had talked about is for commitment to this committee, really missing more than 3 meetings at that point, we only meet monthly. So I'm not really sure how to proceed, but we do need, greater level of commitment to participation if,
Yeah, I think
I'm not sure how.
you've reached out to him and Liz has reached out to him. If we haven't heard back, I certainly can try to reach out to him as well. But I think you're right that it comes to a point where we need participation. And if he's unable to because of his work schedule, whatever, like with Jean, I'm assuming, then we have to look to other resources.
Yeah, that's right. So without a formal resignation from the committee, Craig, how does that work with Sergio? Do you want to try out and see if you can?
Let me try reaching out to him and find out what's going on.
Okay, thank you. I know he's had another. I believe his wife was pregnant the last time we talked. I'm sure everybody has lots of other commitments, but we do need to know either way. Okay, so keep that in mind, team. If you have other members or friends that you think, or other community members, folks that have specific interest in our work, keep that in mind. We may have a couple of openings coming up pretty.
Once we get an opening, I would like to send it out to the allies because I think that's a group of people that might be interested.
Absolutely.
And I didn't do it last time, so let's see. As soon as you hear.
I think I might have someone who's interested too. I'll reach out to her.
Okay. Thank you. All right. There is no public participation. So any other topics? All right. Do I have a
our
motion?
next meeting.
Yes.
What date? What's the date?
Say that again.
The date of our next meeting.
Oh, good question. Great question, actually. So date of our next meeting would be Tuesday the 3rd, which I don't think will work for people, but I'll ask. Tuesday the 3rd.
No.
No, right? No. Would Tuesday the 10th work for people?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't make
All
it.
right.
Aw.
No?
No, but that's okay.
Without you, Kathy. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll aim for Tuesday, January 10th, and I'll check with Liz and Kristen and team and Beth and see if that works for folks. But I would say let's put that in the minutes for now, Kelly. Unless I hear otherwise, I'll let you know. All right. So I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Barger.
Second, Gershman.
All right.
Barger,
Move to
yes.
vote. And yes.
Michelle.
Yes. I know, there was somebody before me. Well,
She left.
Liz left.
that's what I was looking for. Thanks, everyone.
Foster, yes.
Gershman, yes.
Sklar, yes.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. It was great to see you all. Hope you have a great holiday.
Yeah.
And
You guys
And-
Saturday.
See you Saturday morning.
Yeah, I'm hoping
Bye.
to be there. I should know tonight.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
bye.